Hello everybody, it's jBrereton here again with another episode of Dominions 4. Let's see what's going on. Summer in year 2. Right, so I've got a Head of Elephants cast, so I should have 5 there, or possibly 7, I'm never entirely sure how that works. Summoner Sura is done, so we'll be showing one of those off. And Jabania. Cool, we took the Throne Province for actually very reasonable casualties. And in Smacia we took that as well. That's quite fortunate. Cool. Right, let's have a look at the battle. So I guess the reason we lost any of the Ghana because skeletons are renowned for being really blasé and they don't get out. So problems when you fight with zero protection units. I'm pleasantly surprised we didn't lose very much that episode. Nice one. Okay, so we also took some friendly fire, I think, which was a problem with the fire down this end of the battlefield. Because our own friendly short bows and sticks and stones are actually going to impact our units quite badly. But should be getting close to an HP amount at this point. We've routed a couple of squads. So yeah, there we go. At this point. Okay, so just to recap, that's 5 Yuana, so that's good. That's a surprise. Okay, so Fomorina is also fighting Soromacia, leaving us with the unenviable task of who do we go back and save. Oh, you beauty. Right, okay, so let's go for that. So all this stuff is in range at this point of defending the capital, so we are no doubt about to see an absolutely heinous battle, but oh, it's the Throne of Gaia as well. That's going to make me a popular boy. I'm going to take that one over. Right, okay. So this is Sinasura. Fire resistant, cold resistant, poison resistant. So they cause unrest, which is a bit annoying. They're ambidextrous enough to wield all 8 falchions with no problem. And they eat too much. They're also berserkers, so once they get wounded through their relatively high base protection, they will increase their prot to 13, their attack skill to 14, they'll increase their encumbrance by 2 and reduce their defense as well, in addition to making them never ever ever rout, including when your whole force goes, which can be handy, or it can be really really vexing, but normally it's quite handy, I would say, on balance. Seeing as we are running JVBM, something has just occurred to me, which this may have been the version that the vampires became no longer immortal. I'm just going to check. Yeah, so that is like one of the main changes actually of JVBM when it comes to the certainly towards the late game. Is that in base dominions 4 you are going to run into piles and piles and piles and piles of vampire lords, because they're very self-sustaining. They only cost 77 blood slaves. With a stick they can make more of themselves, and basically get this terminal morass of vampires where there's not really very many good ways to fight them. So what you can do is there's a couple of alternatives. You can steal them. That's a good bet. I wish I hadn't built a palisades here, but anyway, you can steal them using any of the undead mastery stuff, or indeed master and slave, which will usually burn all their paths, which is annoying, but at the same time means that they won't come back
time and time again due to their immortality, or if they will, it'll be on your side. And other than that, it's basically a battle of who has the most money or blood sacrifice, because then you can wage a more or less forever war while your temples build up, and if you have blood sack you'll win, because they can get many more temple checks than anyone else, which eventually leads to all their dominion going, or basically just leads to a throne rush when everyone involved is sick of it, which I thought was a bit of a problem with the game, because once it gets to the late stage, if you don't have death and blood magic, it really limited your viability compared to everyone else. Whereas when they are immortal, no longer immortal, I mean they're still very good. Like, it's a death 3, blood 3 summon in the case of Vampire Lord, but it's slightly more reasonably priced compared to how many times you're going to be seeing it again. I mean, the other thing about going really deep into blood, let's just see here, is that the path in general has very good stuff by the time you get to this point. So you've got Curse of Blood, which is a Vampire Lord spell, right? In addition to that, you've got like stuff like Leech, which is very powerful. Leech is basically a way to guarantee that your anyone you have blood hunting is more or less immune to any assassination attempt by anything living, because this will take it out. You just set it up for a couple of casts and jobs are good. You also have Blood Rain, which is quite a powerful battlefield spell. You also have Bind Archdevil, which is quite handy. Astral Corruption, which is probably the meanest global in the game. I'm about to cast it in another game that I'm in at the moment, as a screw you to a guy who has decided to attack me, despite being my ally. Basically what it does is anytime anyone casts any magic, they have a pretty high chance of getting attacked by a horror, and normally that will take them out. So, yeah. Seeing as this is Mo magic, like magic enhanced, there's also this new thing which I have no idea what it does. Okay, it's basically the same as Aspidel's Dominion, I would suppose, but perhaps with Insanity as well, a bit like LA really is. And Curse of 1,000 Cuts, I have no idea what this does. That makes everyone bleed. Well, there you go. Very handy. There's also Blasphemy. That's pretty cool. Cool. What a good spell. That seems like a pretty good way to end the game as well. Also in Blood, by just making everyone give up their dominion. Oh yeah, the other thing that's really pernicious in Blood is Send Horror, and especially Send Lesser Horror, relative to when you get it, because that stuff, for example, you can target underwater, it will kill most anything it runs into, no question. And once it does, it's like, well, then the horrors actually leave at the end of the turn, which means you just walk over to your unconquered province, or effectively, or empty province, or basically have a new stage battle with someone. Like, it's a very good reset button on a enemy province, and you can target it underwater. I don't even really know why, but you can. It's always struck me as a little unreasonable, given that the water nations typically can't use more or less any blood magic that rain. I feel like more Atavi may be more of a help than a hindrance, so let's just stick with that. Let's get another Giyaka General, and for Yavanna. So yeah, I don't know if there'll be anything that clashes between my mod and Magic Enhance, which is going to be an interesting thing to find out as the game goes later. But so far it doesn't look like it. I can't think of anything other than paths that I really changed for Mage and so on. There's a couple of new units, but they're for like EA Pelagia rather than being like anyone that's involved in this current game. Sorry, I was stumbling over my words there. So let's see who we've even got. So yeah, they haven't got anything new. They certainly don't. It's just some changes on them. Yeah, it's the people with a bunch of new stuff. It's like Femoria gets a whole bunch of new stuff. I don't know why they did this. Magic Enhanced has got the same problem as many mods, including my own, I'll readily admit. That there's way more energy paid towards a bunch of nations than others. So Femoria, which is already pretty strong and has good summons, got a whole bunch of new stuff. I'm playing them in a different game I'm actually about to lose, but that's not due to their new stuff, that's due to some other circumstances. TC gets some things. I know in M8 Middle Era it gets a whole bunch of completely unbalanced garbage, but that's by the by. Agartha, I think they get a bunch of new summons shared with Abyssur and so on. Kailasa, we get a fair amount of new stuff. Yomi, I've no idea about. I'm sure they'll have a couple of things. And Atlantis, they get a swathe of new stuff, but only shared between all of the underwater nations. And because they don't have air magic, they can't cast half of it. Which is like, that's, for a nation that's pretty much a big fuck you for taking it, like that's a pretty big fuck you for having a whole number of things they can't even do because they don't have the same parts as Pelagia, basically, which is already a better nation than Atlantis. I think my change to Atlantis by giving him a cheap water mage in the Coral Priest is probably going to help him out a little bit in that respect, but still a pretty flawed nation. Anyway, we need to talk to Femoria. Femoria, I'm hoping, has not just taken the whole ocean, right? Because Femoria has underwater capable units, has amphibious giants, and it also has a bunch of unique summons under the waves. And if there's any Amber Clan in any of these provinces, they are strong enough to cast it with a booster. Or if they random a Path of Water, but that's not terribly likely. Let's leave these guys here just for this turn. Let's have him summon some more elephants, and we'll see what we're going to have to do in a minute. Right, so how are we doing for mercs? Okay, we need some more of them as well, so sorry Giyaka. Black Fist, couple of points in them, and Arno's archers, a few in them. Gotcha, right. So when these guys get over here, my intention is basically to search it with the Guru and take the throne as soon as possible, buffing my PD on that turn. I need to remember to do that because the Throne of Gaia is infamous for the breadth of attacks from like werewolves, gnomes, all kinds of random garbage. Just gets really mad at you for doing stuff. I'm basically writing this palisade off, so whatever, we'll see what happens. Let's send a text to Femoria. There we go, that'll do. It's ambiguous, but that's how I like it. Because we've already got a fairly peaceful nation who's a neighbour in TC, and we know the score with Katis and also Niflheim. Hopefully they won't be tempted into rash military action over here. But who knows? They might be, and we might get totally ganged up on by 3 people. But that's just how it goes sometimes, I guess. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Sorry about my rambling diatribe for most of this video, but you never know, may improve soon. So thank you very much for watching. Actually, no, let's do it this way. Thank you very much for watching, and I've been jBrereton, and goodbye.